This is Larry Jordan, the host of the Digital Production Buzz. The following interview is an excerpt from a recent program. To hear the entire program, visit digitalproductionbuzz.com. Wes Plate is the president and founder of Automatic Duck, which started as a father and son team in 2001. They specialize in creating timeline translation software. Tonight, Wes joins us to talk about new products and a new partnership between Automatic Duck and Red Giant. Hello, Wes. Welcome.
Hi, Larry. It's great to see you.
You know, it's great to have you back. Every time we visit, I enjoy our chats, and I need to start by asking a question. I thought that you were still with Adobe. What have you been doing?
Well, I actually left Adobe at the beginning of 2014. So I was at Adobe for just over 2 years. And the beginning of 2014, it took some time off. Dad and I did some traveling independently and also together. We did a great hike in Peru. And basically, around that time, we started wondering how we could work together again. What could we do? And we kind of missed the collaboration of working with the team. We still had Automatic Duck as something that we had access to. And so we thought, well, Automatic Duck should do something. And yeah, so we've been kind of working ever since then on bringing Automatic Duck back.
Well, I was stunned to get the announcement yesterday from Red Giant saying Red Giant is now releasing 2 brand new Automatic Duck plugins. Let's start first with why the relationship with Red Giant, and then we'll talk next about what the new toys are.
Sure. Well, when Harry and I were considering bringing Automatic Duck back, we had to consider what's the tool we're going to create or what's the product, and then also we had to consider just the logistics of bringing a company back from basically zero, and we just kind of wanted to partner with somebody who could help us with that. Red Giant's got a fantastic network of users, as well as they've got great marketing, and their website's beautiful. And they're also just a really smart group of people that we could work with in a collaborative way. So it allows us to focus on development of product. They can help us with the marketing. They can also help us with, just sort of running what we want to do, give us ideas, and also their engineering, our engineering, so we can have an idea that we can collaborate on projects, create something together.
Well, I remember several years ago, Adobe did they buy the Automatic Duck products? In other words, what's the relationship between Adobe and Red Giant and Automatic Duck?
Well, I think Automatic Duck has independent relationships with each of those 2 companies. So, yes, we have Adobe licensed technology from us in 2011, and that acquired technology then made its way into After Effects as well as into Premiere Pro. What they purchased was technology, not the company. So we then brought Automatic Duck back, and that's when we said, hey, well, we'd like to make something new. Hey, Red Giant, what do you think about partnering with us? And they were down with it, and so we had a lot of conversations about how this might work, and I think it's going to be. We're super excited about it, and I certainly know Red Giant is excited too. I think it's going to open up a lot of possibilities for both of us.
So the translation software that Adobe has is different from the translation software that you'd released just yesterday with Red Giant. Is that true?
That's correct. Right.
Then tell me what the new toys are, because I'm all anxious to learn more.
Right. So in 2014, when we were trying to figure out what to do next, it coincided with me trying to figure out why people liked Final Cut 10 so much. I kept hearing great things about Final Cut 10, and so I set out to learn why, what was the speed and what was the enjoyment they were getting. And so anyway, I started to really enjoy it. I set my mind to learning it, and I loved the editing tools. And then as I was working, I realized I needed to get to After Effects. It was sort of like I needed this tool to get from Final Cut 10 to After Effects. And at the time, what was available wasn't working. There was a lot of crashing for me. The solution at the time wasn't working. And so I said, well, there's got to be a way that Automatic Duck could come up with something that, has what people expect from Automatic Duck, a level of translation, do what people know us for. And so it kind of made sense for us to think about this Final Cut 10 to After Effects plugin. So that's what we've announced is a tool called Automatic Duck X-Import AE. It's an After Effects plugin that lives in After Effects, and it imports Final Cut 10 XML files.
X-Import AE. Clearly some heavy marketing going on here. So what does it do?
So it builds a bridge between Final Cut 10 and After Effects so that you can use Final Cut 10 to mock up and maybe get your timings all set up, maybe rough out some composites, but use it as a tool to arrange your shots that then can feed into After Effects so that you can use After Effects for the compositing tools and whatever animation you want to do. But since there isn't, Premiere Pro and Adobe After Effects have a great interoperability because they're made by Adobe. And Final Cut 10 obviously doesn't have that. And so we're kind of providing that same bridge technology that we used, the idea of that timeline translation technology from the past, but we're applying it to Final Cut 10. So we're building a bridge so that you can work in Final Cut 10, and when you're ready, bring all that stuff into After Effects really fast with a high level of fidelity of translation, really making the tools feel and work together, almost like they're one, but much, much more seamlessly.
Now, do I consider this like a dynamic link where I've got dynamic conversation going between the two apps, or is it step by step? How does that work?
It's mostly a one-way translation that you might do towards the end of a process, because it is not dynamically updating between the two applications. So our plugin for After Effects, basically you take a snapshot in time in Final Cut Pro when you export this XML file. And so then our plugin will read that XML file into After Effects, turning it into an After Effects composition. Every shot's on its own layer. When you're done in After Effects, then you'll render out a QuickTime movie just the way that you normally would. Then the editor can import that QuickTime render back into Final Cut Pro and cut it back into their piece.
Now, I want to make sure I'm clear. What we're doing is we're exporting XML using the standard XML export from Final Cut. Your plugin takes over once that XML is created, or are you a menu item that's doing both the XML export and the conversion to After Effects?
Yeah, right now it's a plugin in After Effects. The export out of Final Cut Pro step is done just using the standard Final Cut XML export command from the file menu.
One of the challenges we've had working with Final Cut 10 XML is that stuff like compound clips and multicam clips don't necessarily export as well as we would like. Are there features within Final Cut that are not supported within your plugin? In other words, can I apply effects and have those effects transfer to After Effects, or do I need to just use raw clips and just use it from a timing point of view? Where are the limitations?
There certainly are limitations. We have to sort of take an approach of what can we do with as little loss as possible. And if there's going to be something that we can't do a really direct translation that's like 100% accurate, then we may not approach that translation. But we're able to do things like scale, position, and rotation, and opacity, volume keyframes. All those things can be animated. In addition to opacity, you could have your blending modes, speed changes, time remapping, as well as constant speed. The third-party effects translate with our tool, which allow you to apply something like, let's say, Colorista from Red Giant. You could apply that in Final Cut Pro. It'll then be applied in After Effects using our plugin with the exact same settings. The user's guide lists all the stuff that translates, and then anything that falls out of that list and will be something that won't come through. You will still get the raw clip or whatever it can translate, but since it's all live in After Effects, you can fix up whatever scaling you might need to adjust. I mean, it's all still live, and so it's a very rich translation. Don't get me wrong, but certainly it's not everything 100%.
Now, that's the first of two tools. That's the X-Import AE, which is so brilliantly named. It just rolls trippingly off the tongue.
It's beautiful.
What's the other one?
The other one is brilliantly named as well, Larry. You'll love it. It's called Media Copy, and you're never going to guess what it does.
I hesitate to even guess, actually.
I should have given you a chance to guess. So we have another tool called Automatic Duck Media Copy, which is actually coming into version 4. This is a product that Automatic Duck used to sell a number of years ago, and was particularly popular with Avid users. And what this product does is it reads an Avid AAF file, even an Avid bin file, or an OMF, I guess, for that matter. Also XML from Final Cut 7, and we've also now added the ability for it to support Final Cut 10 XML. And what Media Copy does is it looks at that file and says, what media is referenced by this sequence or referenced by the clips in this bin, and then it just copies those files to a location that you specify. It can be really handy if you need to move a sequence from Final Cut 10 on one computer to After Effects artist down the room or down the town, down the street. It can also be helpful if you just want to isolate the media for a project so that you can archive it, for example. That's what a lot of Avid users have told us they do with it. And it takes a tool that can be pretty tedious in the NLE. All the NLEs have some kind of tool for moving media, but it kind of keeps it in that NLE's sandbox in a way. In the case of Avid, it creates a whole bunch of clips that an editor might not want to have in their bin. So it's a simple way to take the media that's associated with a project and just move it to, or copy it to another computer.
With Avid, the media is stored separately from the project file, but in Final Cut 10, you have the option of storing media in essentially a bundle, which is inside the library. If I've got media stored inside the library bundle, can you still grab it and copy it?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, that we can still find that media and copy it to a new location that will basically pull it out of the bundle, and then the After Effects plugin, when it's searching for media, is smart enough to search the system for those media files, even though they have a different path than the XML file states.
That is very cool, because dealing with the bundle has caused a lot of problems for a lot of people. So
yeah, and it can be handy to have everything in one place, but it also, like you say, causes problems and confusion.
well, I recommend that for people that are new to Final Cut, storing media inside the library simplifies your life tremendously because you know where it is. But it's hard to open up that bundle and pull media out without breaking your project. So, and again, you're not moving media, you're creating a copy of it. Essentially, you're collecting it into a separate location, either for archiving or additional processing. Is that a true statement?
That's right. We don't ever move media, which implies that the first location is going to have its media deleted. So we're always creating new files in the destination location.
Is this the start of multiple applications, or is this just that you were bored and your team decided to do something and this is a stopgap until something else comes along and you take that motorcycle trip across the country, or are we going to be seeing and hearing more from Automatic Duck in the future?
The hope is that this will be the start of a new phase with Automatic Duck and partnered with Red Giant, where we're going to be able to create more tools over time. We've got more ideas than we have time that we can implement them all, and we're going to be trying to figure out, which of those ideas we're going to tackle next. Some things are bigger than others, but we definitely have room to grow, and we have plans to grow as well.
Red Giant specializes in creating effects which change looks. I'm thinking of Magic Bullet and Trapcode Suite and all the other incredible tools they've got. You've got something totally different. You're not changing the look. You're actually providing utilities for moving files from point A to point B. Why did you decide to partner with Red Giant? Because there's not a one-for-one relationship between what you create and what the bulk of their products are.
That's true. I think it's a nice synergy. We provide a different kind of product than they've had in their catalog until now. So I think that this is a nice supplement to what they've already been offering to their users. They've been offering these looks and these effect plugins for some time, but now Red Giant can offer a really great utility tool that complements those effects that their users already have. So the ability to translate third-party plugins is a great big benefit to all those users. Even though we are supporting plugins from other vendors besides Red Giant, the plugin supports plugins from Boris, Digital Anarchy, Noise Industries, and so we certainly want to make sure we get as much coverage as we can. It's also a nice thing for Red Giant that they happen to make these plugins that we've made sure that they translate. So
I was just thinking, you and your dad started Automatic Duck almost 14 years ago. Is he still talking to you, and is he involved with the development?
Oh yeah, he's immensely involved. Yeah, he's doing great. It's been almost 15. No, it's been more than 15 years. It was April 2001. No, you're right. It's 15 years since we started the development. You're right. Larry, you know my story better than me. 15 years. We're still getting along great. And, it's never easy working with family, but we've developed a really great relationship over the years.
It's really hard to turn your back and walk away. That they just keep hanging around. What are you looking at in the future? What trends are you keeping your eye on? I'm not asking for a new product, but what's caught your attention? And is there some special opportunities as we start to move with Adobe's announcement yesterday of support for high dynamic range media, or as we move into 4, 5, even 8K images? Are there utilities that we need to keep our eyes on, or is this media just bigger but the same as what we're dealing with now?
Oh boy, when we deal with media for our stuff, it's just a file that we're referencing, and so when I'm working as an editor, even I rarely think about my media anymore, and so if it's big or small, it almost doesn't even matter from the perspective that I take. So I don't necessarily have a great insight for you. What I look to is, how can editors be most efficient with their workflows as possible, and what stumbling blocks in the NLE might they hit that they want, they have to do 50 clicks to get something done, and maybe that could be streamlined. So my interest is always in trying to keep the creative flow of users in that state of just creating instead of having to be clicking and working with technology that gets in their way. So I continue to look to that, and I think that transcends even files, because that's truly just a way of working beyond technology.
Are you seeing an increasing interest in collaboration? I'm thinking Avid's had collaboration between editors down for a long time, and Adobe's continuing to experiment with Adobe Anywhere. Final Cut right now is one editor per library. Are you seeing an increasing need for collaboration in terms of multiple people in the same files at the same time?
I certainly hear the need for that. And the places that I go, the people I talk to, I hear that that's one of the major remaining criticisms of Final Cut 10, although I know that there are people and companies out there that are trying to figure out ways around sort of that, like you say, that one system, one editor, one library limitation. But I don't know that I'm aware of necessarily the technologies that other companies might be developing. I'm not too up on all that, but I know that it's certainly an issue.
It's interesting, because I suspect that if collaboration was easy, we would have had it already. But we know that with Adobe Anywhere, Adobe's been experimenting with providing collaboration, but it's not a trivial solution. That's some serious hardware and serious software to be able to get that to work.
I was quite familiar with Adobe Anywhere during my time when I was at Adobe, and I was amazed at how complex that problem is. And you're right. The more integrated you want that system to be, the seamless handoff between stuff, that's the harder I think it is. And so when you look at the kind of collaboration Automatic Duck is making possible with like X-Import AE, sort of allowing Final Cut 10 and After Effects to collaborate in a new way. I mean, it's not 100% seamless where you just click a button and now all of a sudden magically everything appears. You have to click like 5 times. But it's still a whole lot better than just starting from scratch and rebuilding. But it still is a kind of collaboration, because these graphic artists and editors need to work together all the time. And I think we'll always be looking for ways that we can make that even better.
And I'm looking forward to seeing what you come up with. It's a welcome back, by the way. It's good to have you back on the scene. You've been quiet for too long.
Thanks, Larry.
Are we buying the product from Automatic Duck? Or are we buying it from Red Giant? And where do we go on the web to see it?
Yeah, all the sales are handled through Red Giant's website now. So if you want an Automatic Duck product, you can go to redgiant.com. We also have stuff at automaticduck.com, information about the products, as well as you can still access the old Final Cut 7 plugins from a long time ago from automaticduck.com. So I would check out both those places for information about the new stuff.
And Wes, the key website is automaticduck.com, all one word. Wes Plate is the co-founder of Automatic Duck, the president, and one of the chief bottle washers. Wes, thanks for joining us today.
It's great to see you, Larry.
Take care.
Bye.
See you soon. If you'd like to see more videos like this one, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. To stay connected and receive updates from The Buzz, sign up for our free weekly newsletter now. Or you can learn more about us on our website. And thanks for watching The Digital Production Buzz.